It is Tuesday, and today we're going to talk about focus and presence and how they are intertwined. But first, I did have a climbing night tonight. It was a good first climbing night since the Spartan race, which I'm still recovering a little bit. The ankle is still a little tender from rolling it. My grip is still recovering a little bit, and my little tear last week is cracking and is dry. So a couple more days of that, I think we'll be better off. I've also probably taken my calluses down a little too much. But overall, I think climbing is going fairly well. Just staying consistent and working slowly but surely and challenging myself at different things. There's definitely some climbs where I guess I'm not sure exactly where they're graded. Maybe they're V4, maybe they're V3, that I'm working out, and I might not have them perfectly solved, but I'm feeling very strong. I think some of the cut and now stabilizing into this new lower weight is very good. I'm going to keep moving that down a little bit and keep working on strength. I don't think I need to do pull-ups as aggressively or consistently, and it wasn't really terribly aggressive, but focusing a little bit more on technique and strength in the movements while still doing some pull-ups, but just not stressing about it as much. It was a little bit of a concern plateauing out there, and you just got to remain consistent and keep pushing and keep working on the techniques. Doing climbs that challenge me regardless of grade, and working out the problems again and again and again. So it's still going good, still going really fantastic actually. I would say I'm getting even a little bit more comfortable, and I highly recommend it. I think it's something that helps build a lot of confidence, and it is a good little mental, physical challenge, and something that's really enjoyable to improve at. So if you've ever thought about doing it, or if you have the opportunity to do it nearby, go do it. Tell me I'm wrong. I bet you won't. If you do need help, just hit me up. I'm more than happy to give you some tips that I think are very helpful and maybe get you on your way. So, like I said, starting out with the discussion about focus and presence, I've had several videos over the last 30, 40 days, really working on being present in the moment. And what I've realized, or as a reflection of what I have learned about myself relative to my focus and my presence, which I think my focus has gotten really bad over the years. I don't remember having struggled with focus when I was younger, but probably mid-20s to mid-30s, it felt like it was a challenge for me. And definitely an ability to be present. So what I've noticed is I'm a very introspective person, and I typically end up being in one of two places. And that is either the past or the future. It's definitely not the present. So when I'm in the past, I end up basically reliving, reflecting on the experiences I've had before, and thinking through what I could have done differently, or trying to interpret them and understand them a little bit better, or really trying to come to a conclusion about experiences that I've had, some good, some bad. And, a lot of this is just terribly wasted energy, to be frank. And it's not really improving past the first or second reflection session, and with a journal in hand. So just living there might not probably be doing much of anything. And then additionally, at times, I think much more rare, living in the future, thinking about sometimes the endless list of shit that I have to do that is continuously growing and will forever be endless, as items just continually keep getting added to that all the time. And, I think that's most prevalent when you lay down, or I notice it the most when I lay down to sleep at night, and sometimes I could struggle getting to sleep. I think I've become much more effective at focus and being present, particularly because of the moments when I lay down to go to sleep. Now, ultimately, I want to be present. I've said it several times. So I've been doing a lot of analysis on this. And what I've determined is my presence is really truthfully an output of where I allow my focus to be. And there's a couple things that I'd like to talk about that. So one is the idea of interrupts. I've thought about this idea in general with just any behavior modification that I'm pursuing. And by behavior modification, I mean my present behavior, or my current behavior, let's put it that way, is that I don't feel like I'm present enough, put it that way. And so I would like to be more present. And so that's the change. That's behavior modification. And in there, ultimately, whenever I recognize that I'm either in the past or the future, whenever I realize that my focus is on the past or the future, I need to interrupt and bring myself back to the present moment. I recalled a tip, and it's really close to what I was doing anyways, but this is very focused and succinct, but it's to name and think about and focus on 3 things that you can currently see and 3 things that you can currently hear. And the most pointed example that I have of this, or the pointed experience I have in this now, is when I find myself running through past memories, either on my drive to work or my longer drives, or when I lay down to sleep at night. I notice that I'm introspective and thinking about past moments or future moments. And whenever I recognize that, I interrupt and try to bring myself back to the present. What's most interesting about that is I think both of these can be circumstances in which you're not really focusing on anything around you. Driving kind of sounds sketchy, but when you lay down in bed at night in particular, you just kind of want to drift off to sleep. So you stop focusing on anything in particular, and it takes you to different places. Your brain doesn't necessarily want to shut off. It might not be ready to shut off. And you might find laying in bed, trying to focus on either the quiet or the white noise or the dark room around you is very boring and not very interesting. And so you can go to these different places. Maybe this is me and I'm more imaginative than I definitely believe. But the idea is, as soon as you recognize this, that you're not where you want to be, you're not in your present moment, if this is something that you're also working on, you interrupt. So you stop immediately. And you bring yourself back to the present moment by focusing on those things that are currently right around you. Relying on your senses in that present moment to bring you back to wherever you are. So, if I'm focusing on the past, I recognize that, I interrupt, and I bring myself back to the present. Focusing on the future, I interrupt, and I bring myself back to the present moment. Another really good example of this is when you're allowing distraction to consume yourself. So if I'm just doom scrolling on social media or churning through videos or shows on Netflix, I interrupt and I bring myself back to a focal point of where I want to be. Not just allowing my mind to lay dormant and guide along towards this consumption mindset. So each of these has been very useful for me, and it's only increasing in use. I think focus is a skill, and as a skill, the more you practice it, the better off you'll be. So recognizing when your focus is not where you want to be, and recognizing that it's a skill that can be improved. One of the exercises that I like to do, or really focus on from a very simplistic standpoint, is to truly focus and hold on a single idea as clearly and strongly as you can focus on it. And just, that's it. Allow it to absorb and expand to take every ounce of focus that you can give it. A single idea. The simpler the idea, the better. And just exercise that as much as you can. And it's amazing how much you can play then with that idea within your mind. I think it's going to unlock and be a very powerful thing as I move forward. And just the ability to actually focus in without bouncing around like a game of Plinko has been incredibly powerful for me. I find it to be very useful, and I find it to be incredibly satisfying to be able to actually conquer this thing and start to achieve this idea or this goal of being present. The last thing that I would say, and I think it might start becoming my motto, is as you work towards anything, you cannot lose if you do not quit. Again, you cannot lose if you do not quit. So if it's being present, if it's improving your physical fitness, if it's improving at any goal that you set out there, just improving yourself, do not quit. Keep trucking. It will come.